Do you know what my first memory of you is that you don't know?
Oh man.
Is that
Oh no.
this is kind of wild. It's not, it's kind of wild. We did a show in Lawrence, and Rakim, I want to say,
Yes.
didn't want to go on before us. And he really, it was, I was really let down by it, man, because I always been an Eric B. and Rakim fan. Fast forward to I'm with Tech N9ne. We were about to perform in Lawrence at Liberty Hall, Liberty Theater, whatever it's called. And
Hmm.
Rakim said he didn't want to go on before us because he didn't understand the pull that Tech had in this area because it's
Yeah.
30 miles from Kansas City. And to our understanding, it was really an ugly story. Well, we were at Rock the Bells or one of those festivals. Is the first time I remember seeing you, and you were talking to Tech about this. OG Muggs was standing there. I could tell by his posture that it was a problem.
Yeah.
And so I came around the back of you because I thought you were tripping and I was getting ready to swing on you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know this. And I was
Mm-hmm.
looking like, okay, I'm gonna have, but because God has given me a spirit of discernment that I didn't know then even, I can feel people's energy. And I
Mm-hmm.
could see by your posture, your body language was peaceful and your
Mm-hmm.
energy was peaceful. And I was thinking in my head, what am I doing? And I just decided that I was going to observe instead because I thought it was a super problem. And I heard you mentioning Rakim. I got the feeling that he didn't like that or whatever. And so Tech was a big fan too. He talked about how let
Yeah.
down he was that day, how he shoveled snow to get money to get tickets to get money to buy tickets to go to Eric B. and Rakim show when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And I could still see Muggs how he was looking because
Yeah.
he's super turned up because he come from the background he comes from.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And so I was like, nah, he ain't tripping. And I tapped Muggs' arm like as if to say, hey man, he ain't tripping. And then when they walked off, I don't know if you remember this, but they walked off. I stayed there and talked to you for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
every time I saw you, we kept bumping into each other at various festivals at Soundset, Rock the Bells. What's the festival that Pay Dues?
Pay
Like I
dues,
think it was
Mercy's
Pay Dues.
Festival.
And I could tell we just had very kindred spirits. And so it's always been this weird thing, even though we haven't talked a lot, I always
Mm-hmm.
felt a super strong connection to you, brother. And like it
Absolutely.
was, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know what it is, man, but I feel a real big connection with Brother Ali. And I've told people that ever since.
Yeah, man. That's it's a beautiful story and it's also amazing from my side. And we've never talked about this, but from my
Mm.
side, in 2007 and 8, I toured with Rakim for a full year. And he was really like a mentor to me. And that's right when it was my second album, but it was the first one that actually had distribution. And so that was
Mhm.
the time when the blogs were really big. And Rakim was really like vouching for me. And that's not something that he historically has done. He was going on the record with Nah Right and all that stuff and saying, like really giving me a lot of good. And so on that tour in particular, it was me, Ghostface, and Rakim, and we had this big
Okay.
band. We had a show booked in Lawrence, but the tickets weren't selling. And we kept hearing about this throughout the whole tour. The Lawrence tickets aren't selling. The promoter said, if we add Tech N9ne to this show, it'll help. And so they were like, yeah, add whoever you want. In their mind, they didn't know y'all. So they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, they want to add a local artist. Apparently, he's the hometown favorite. Yeah, add him. So they added y'all, and it sold out overnight. Of course, it probably sold out in
Yeah.
10 minutes. The promoter came back and said, we sold out the show, but here's what we want to do. Tech N9ne is actually going to be the headliner because he's the one that sold out the show. He has a full set. And
Yeah.
so Rakim was just like, I can't open for somebody I don't know. Like he's like, the thing that I have is that I am the God MC. I can't open for people I don't know. So I asked
I
him
get
because
it.
I was like his not protege, but he was my mentor. I was on that tour because he gave me the thumbs up. And so I asked him, do
Right.
you want me to sit it out too? I was actually riding on his bus. And he was like, no, you should go. And so I rode on Ghostface bus that day and he said, try to get Tech N9ne's attention and tell him it's all love. This is not a disrespect thing. I wish him the best. So I went to the show with that in mind. So then on the flip side, they brought me downstairs because Tech was doing the meet and greet. And he had the lights
Yep.
on, he had glasses on, he's in full Tech N9ne mode, he's posing with people and haha,
Ah,
you know I'm sizzling. He's in Tech N9ne mode. Like he's not the guy.
You're right.
He's the on stage Tech N9ne.
Right,
And this is
right, right.
2008. So like he's not the like mellowed out dude that he is now. So they step to him and they say, hey, the opener wants to meet you. They didn't say this is, you know, one of the guys on the tour, this is Rakim's, whatever. They just said,
Right.
I heard him say it. The opener wants to meet you. So he's like, okay, cool. So I walk over and he's like, what's going on, man? Yeah, cool. All right, hope it goes good for you tonight, man. And that's it. Never took the glasses off, never really made eye contact. It's not his fault. He doesn't, just like Rakim doesn't know who Tech is, Tech doesn't know who I am. So
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to talk to this dude. You know what I mean? And I mentioned it to a few stagehands and stuff. And I was like, hey, you know, tell him I have a message from Rakim. It just never happened. So then Merce invites us all to pay. I think that was at Paid Dues. So Merce invites us to Paid Dues. And Merce by this time was signed to Strange, and he had heard that Tech had a song where he talked about the Rakim thing. So Merce knows that me and Rakim are close. So Merce hits me and he's like, Tech N9ne has a diss song about Rakim. Now I've heard it. It's not really a diss song.
It's
but
not. No, it's not. He
but
mentioned it in there.
But I think what he's saying is this is how it's going to be perceived. Again, that's the time of the blogs. It's going to be perceived like a diss song. So I'm like, okay, let me finish what my assignment from the first time. Can I get with Tech? Because by now Tech knows who I am. So I'm like, hey, that day, what I was supposed to do is connect with you. And I'm like, you probably don't remember we met that day. And he's like, dude, I have no recollection of that. I was probably already in the whatever. I'm like, yeah, man.
Well, he was getting, the thing is, man, he was just getting super high back then. And
so I was like, man, and we had a beautiful conversation. And I was like, man, the song wasn't out yet. And so I said, if I can get you on the phone, and I called Rakim like 4 times and he never answers his phone. And I'm calling him, like, please pick the phone up. And he didn't.
Right.
And I'm like, if I can put you on the phone with him and you hear his energy, you hear his spirit, is it possible to remove that song from the project? And he was like, I don't know about that, but I would love to talk to him. So I think I connected Rakim's manager with Travis. I don't know if they talked or not. So then
they never did.
I spent a whole weekend in LA. I'm chilling. I went to a bunch of different places, but I'm just walking around LA like no big deal. I get back and I got a call from Rakim's bodyguard. And he's like, you had problems in LA that you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
He's like, man, people wanted to touch you when you were in LA. Somebody called Bumpy Knuckles. And then Bumpy Knuckles called Rakim's bodyguard, Big Moo. And Big Moo was like, I promise you, Brother Ali was not fronting on Tech N9ne. I promise you he had a Farrakhan intention. He's trying to make peace between these guys. So, I mean, I ended up walking around. So not only did I not know that you were standing behind me about to snuff me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But man, I'm walking around LA with like, with a green light. Had no clue.
You ain't know. And I didn't know you had a green light on you either.